Hi guys, and welcome to Bomb Anime.
Ruka!
Big boy! Summer! And this is our part 3 of Overlord Season 2.
This is the Dwarven Kingdom arc. It's basically when Ainz first makes contact with the dwarves. First of all, we kick it off with Albedo and Demi-Edge having a conversation. I love how the NPCs always think Ainz has all of these plans he doesn't actually have. And please don't tell Demi-Edge, of all people, not to hold back Albedo. Although we kind of want you to do that because we want him to let loose. But you know, come on, it's Demi-Edge. This is the guy who made Happy Farms.
Yeah, I mean, them two had their little discussion. Albedo was obviously intentionally trying to get under his skin as well, because they've got that little bit of rivalry going on. Which one's the best NPC? And for some reason, these two think they're in the lead somewhere. But I kind of feel like Ainz likes Aura and Bella better than everyone else, based on their interactions and whatnot. So them two are the masterminds of the whole of Nazarick. So one of them is the domestic mastermind, which is Albedo. She's in charge of internal affairs. And Demi-Edge is the foreign affairs guy who goes out seeking new places to conquer, because obviously Ainz wants to rule the world, which he made as an off-cut comment and everyone ran with it. So it's kind of cool to watch them two interact all the time. I need to see more of this, to be fair, because it's hilarious.
I agree with those statements. I also like how the NPCs, although they chastise each other, you see it with a lot of them. It's not just Albedo and Demi-Edge. Of course, most of the NPCs' relationships are loosely centered around their makers' relationships with each other. So I like how they have that rivalry, but they also big each other up at every point as well. They want to see each other succeed, even though they're also outwardly competing with each other for Ainz's affection and his praise. So I love that about the NPCs. They're much like a massive family, and even the other species that Ainz brings in, you can see how they get integrated into the world of Nazarick so seamlessly as part of the extended family.
Literally, the moment you submit to Ainz, that's it, you're fam now. The moment that you don't, well, we saw what happened.
So these 3 episodes were Shalltear's time to shine. I actually forgot about a lot of Shalltear's badass moves, like her mass hold species and also the charm species, which I think is way more important because it literally makes the person under the influence feel like you're like their best friend, and all they want to do is please you. They're really friendly with you, and it's like great for interrogations. It's great for information gathering, and not only her spells that she used, but her sheer force. She was a force to be reckoned with. She just dealt with all of the quagoa. It was epic, calmly telling them to kill themselves until there's only 10k left, and then wiping them out. It looked like they had been thrown into a wood chipper. Her standing on top of that pile of bodies was just, it was an image.
Yeah, I loved it. I thought, the thing is as well, like, if you guys don't know, Shalltear was built as the NPC to be the first NPC you see when you go into the Nazarick dungeon. Now, I'm not going to go into too much detail about how the game of Yggdrasil was and what dungeons are and whatnot, but she was the first one you saw. She was the one to whittle down the opposing guilds coming into your dungeon, and so she was built basically to take on multiple attackers that are stronger than her in mass, and this was very evident here when she was dealing with the quagoa. Also, they didn't mention it, but she did use a world item in order to trap them in the first place.
So, since we're talking about Shalltear, we were having a conversation about whether she made a mistake earlier on in the seasons and if she deserved to be treated as if she made like this big mistake.
So for me, the answer is no. She made no mistake at all. You can't help when you're under the influence of a world item spell that will take you under control. You can't help that. I feel like they were being very unfair to her, making her feel like she weren't who she was, which is Shalltear, the Bloodfallen, the killer of killers, the big don.
My opinion is yes, she should have been treated like she made this massive mistake, because Shalltear needed a severe humbling. She's the strongest. She's the strongest floor guardian. No one is her opponent. So she acted recklessly. Now that she got her humbling, she's now thought about strategizing. She's now thinking about monitoring her enemies beforehand. And I feel like this humbling is going to create even more of a beast. I don't think we would have been able to see this shalltear that we've seen in these last couple of episodes had she not had that humbling. She wouldn't have taken the extra steps to think. Her thoughts will always just go in and destroy and not care about anything. But the way Irons wants to run things, he likes collecting things. He likes collecting species. It's not every day go in and kill everything in sight. Okay. Sometimes leave 10,000 alive.
Look, listen, I'm not saying that you're wrong that she didn't need this in order to glow up, but I just feel like if Irons had ordered her to glow up and listen to everything that he had to say or whatever, she would have done the same. I just feel like they kind of did her dirty.
I disagree again, because Irons is all about putting his NPCs through experience and having them learn through experience. It's the same thing that he did with Cocytus, with the lizard men, and also with Sebas as well. Even though that was different, it wasn't battle related. Also the same thing that he did with Lupus as well. He puts them through experiences, so this tracks for the way Irons does things. And also the NPCs were instrumental in this by delivering their humble pie, humbling shalltear, but also they're now here to help build her back up as well.
I hear what you're saying, and I'm not disagreeing that she needed something in order to bring her humble pie and make her a better person. But listen to what I'm saying. Cocytus made a mistake. He lost with overwhelming force. Sebas needed that human interaction in order to become a stronger person. Lupus made a mistake. She didn't warn Irons when important things was going on. Do you get what I mean? They actually effed up. Yeah. She did not F up.
I get what you're saying. She got treated really badly, but that's because shalltear is awesome. I feel like she's gonna be stronger for it.
Also, imagine this, yeah? You've got these guys all learning. What about Albedo? What about Rubedo? What about Demiurge? Albedo needs a glow up. Demiurge needs a glow up.
To do more than the insanity that they're already doing. They're running amok already.
Yeah, but they're running amok with people that are basically intelligent. What they need to glow up with is learning how to deal with people that aren't intelligent. Jerkniv's motives was literally choreographed by Demiurge, because he said Jerkniv's going to do this, then he's going to do this, then he's going to do this, because Jerkniv was of a high intelligence. Say someone comes along who's stupid, I don't think they'll be able to handle that.
Demiurge was wrong anyway about Jerkniv because they don't understand humans, but that's fine. They don't need that. They've got people like Princess Rhaenyra if they really need to have that kind of thing where they understand people but are still, off kilter. I don't think that Demiurge and Albedo need to learn those types of skills because they're okay where they are. And really, I don't think he'd be able to rein them in like other NPCs. There's no way that he's ever going to get Albedo or Demiurge to understand the way human beings think. There's just no way. They're too far gone and they're overthinkers on top of that. And that's why they didn't realize that Jerkniv would want to become a vassal very easily because he's scared. Like it's a simple motivation. I am afraid of you. You're stronger than me. You can do whatever you want, and I feel like what I'm planning behind the scenes is better to just concede, let it go, so that I don't die and all of my people don't die with me. He couldn't understand that simple motivation because he overthinks everything, but that's fine. Leave him where he is because he's there for the big plans and for the small details. Same with Albedo.
Alright, you know what? I'll give you that.
So the dwarves, let's get into them since this is the dwarf arc. The dwarves really had no right to be acting so prestige when Ainz was asking for so little. The only two dwarves that I feel have like a proper sense of self-preservation and real thought was the general and Gondo as well.
No, that's true. Them two were the only ones who actually saw, if we don't let him do this, we will die. Well, the general saw that. Gondo was like, this guy actually speaks to my heart. My desire is X, and he's willing to bring my desire to fruition. You have me forever. That's fine. Ainz is an incredible salesperson in the real world, and he's utilizing them skills to run his kingdom the way only he can do. Now, I keep saying that I feel like when he turned into the Overlord, some of these things are happening automatically and he doesn't even understand it, that he's making these decisions that are perfect, but he doesn't know that they are perfect because he just doesn't. look at what he did here. He subjugated the Dwarven Kingdom, the quagoas, and the dragons all in the space of a couple of days. All three beings, nations, whatever you want to call them, are now under Ainz. He's got an army of dragons, an army of dwarves who can do his technology, and an army of quagoa who eat precious stones and get strong by going on vacation. To me, it's no longer a coincidence now, because it keeps happening. He keeps making the right decision. Nah, fam. Him turning into an undead overlord has made him an undead overlord. He just doesn't need to understand it. He just needs to flow with it.
Your thoughts of him having some kind of passive skill is quite a strong argument. I can't lie. It is a very strong argument, but you know, he's also reading and researching. But is that reading and researching going to really help him do this on this level? Yes, because of the passive skill, he chose to read and research. He wasn't reading and researching in his real life for his job, or else he wouldn't have been just a salaryman. But when he comes into this world, he understands that he doesn't know stuff, tries to learn it, is learning it, and utilizing his overlord skills to learn it too. I think that's all encompassing personally. So for me, with Gondo, I don't know, I have a bit of an issue with his character. To me, he's a true savage. He's here watching all of Ainz's atrocities, and he really doesn't have much to say. He didn't have that much of a reaction in the light novels either, from what I remember. He wasn't like really outraged by the carnage. He was totally fine with it, and he also offered his soul so freely over to Ainz. I feel like we found a secret villain. What was Gondo up to before Ainz came on the scene? He seemed like he's just a nice little miner, that's how we're introduced to him. But the more that I'm seeing him going along with this whole thing as if it's nothing, that's weird to me. Look, even the dwarves said it. Don't trust a person who don't drink. Gondo, that's true. Gondo don't like alcohol. That's true. Look, okay, I know we're kind of getting deep here, but okay, put it this way. Gondo already disassociated himself with his people. All he had is a single focus on runecraft. Something he's not even good at. He sold his soul for something he's not even good at. He sold his soul to preserve his heritage. That is why he sold his soul. It had nothing to do with him. It had everything to do with his father and his grandfather and the line of runesmiths that he comes from. They did their part. They built the stuff. He is unable to do his part. So the only time he got an opportunity to do something, he took it. All right, that sounded pretty legit. So, on that note, if you made it this far, we really do appreciate you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Let us know what you thought about these episodes of Overlord. Peace.